the way you're talking to me today is sort of like I listen to you on the radio. What's interesting, and I've never really had a long conversation with you like this, but one of the things I get out of this, Ben, is that you're really intense.
Oh, shit, yeah. In the eyes.
I know, but you're an intense dude.
I'm like a boss of mine, Peter Meakin, who's now at Channel 10. He apparently, he never said it to my face, but he used to refer to me as the Scientologist behind the scenes. He goes, oh, he's a bloody Scientologist. And I said, what?
What? You're not a Scientologist.
He said, no, I'm not. But he goes, the intensity. You know, and that's, I suppose, I don't know. I mean, I'm here in this environment of, if I'm sitting around having a drink and I'm probably not as intense, but I think these things through. And if I think.
No, totally.
And I listen to your podcasts and I listen to all these other podcasts and other interviews, and I'm stealing nuggets from so many people around the place that I go, oh, I like that. I'm going to use that. So I suppose in an environment like this, I'm also trying to drop a few of my own, because you just never know whether someone else might think, all right, well, I'm going to use that when I land myself in that situation.
And talking about intense then, you recently interviewed the Spanian.
The Spanian. Oh, yeah.
Which we've had him on our show, but you got him more recent. But your interview went viral, went mental.
Yeah.
It's a bit out there for 2GB audience, yep. I would have thought. No one would have heard of the Spanian, most of your audience.
Sure.
The younger ones.
You'd be surprised. I was shocked
how many
had. But you're right, it's not a natural fit for 2GB.
No. So what was that experience like?
That was actually, again, coming back to good producers and good team members, it was a young guy called Michael Ponticello who did the HSC 2 years ago, who works with us. He said he's mad on the Spanian. And he goes, we should interview him. We should interview him. I said, all right, well, let's line it up, see if he says yes. And he said yes. I didn't think he'd say yes. He came into 2GB, as polite as a choir boy, said hello to everyone, no bad language, no mucking around, sat down, did the interview, because when he's on YouTube, it's all F and F and F and lad. And I thought that might be a bit hard for the 2GB audience. You need a translator, right? And someone on the beep.
Yeah.
None of that. Different audience, different way of communicating. I think he is a very intelligent bloke. I think the fact that he goes into a lot of these areas where people aren't used to visitors, they're not used to people coming in there and talking to them and hearing their stories about disadvantage and about their culture and their life. I think there's something really to be said for him. He admits, I'm not a perfect person. I've been to jail. I was very impressed by him, deeply impressed by him. And here's the funny thing. I've had all these people, listeners. I'm 75. We've been watching his videos for years.
Yeah, I follow him. I watch his stuff.
Me and my wife. I got 15 different messages from people who are 65 plus who said, hey, mate, we've been following the Spanian for years through YouTube. So you don't know who your audience is, you know what I mean? Because you might think, oh, well, they're conservative, they're older, they're whatever. But, I've got 9-year-olds who listen, and I've got 99-year-olds who listen. And some of them might have been to jail, others might have been the wardens at the jail. So you can fall into the mistake of pigeonholing your audience and thinking you know who they are. But the greatest test of it though, Mark, is if this guy's interesting, I mean, let's face it, how many boring people are out there? If this guy's that interesting, put him on the radio and he'll make the rest work. Like, you don't go out of your way to find boring people to put on your podcast. You might have made an exception for me today, but you put interesting people on and turn the microphone on.
Well, I put people on who I'm interested in, and I, for me, it's a bit selfish in that one of the greatest gifts that I have been given to me is that I get to sit and talk to people like you and the Spanian, and I find out things about life that I would never ever have an opportunity to find out. You've been spending your whole life in radio and television and just generally media, and I can get in 1 hour a whole lot of great stuff from you, and they're all gems for me. And
yeah.
I could, as long as my ass points to the ground, I would never get the experience you've got in what you've done.
Yeah.
And I'm the same with the Spanian. I'll never get his experience. And you're the sort of same, because you get to talk to these people, prime ministers, premiers, the Spanian, also, Switzer, whatever, all these people you talk to every single day of your life. How much gratitude do you feel? Because I know I feel a lot of gratitude. How much gratitude do you feel, Ben Fordham, that you have this opportunity to talk to really interesting people, cover really interesting topics your whole life, and get paid for it?
Well, when the gratitude shines through, and this is going to sound like me trying to be a bit soft and a bit, Hallmark card, soppy movie kind of thing. But when I'm really grateful is when we put a story on the radio and people respond to it, and I'll give you an example. I'm off this week. I've got a week's holiday this week. So someone wrote to me and said, look, there's this little kid called Max, terrible story, leukemia, needs to get to Singapore, needs $150,000. Treatment can't be done in Australia. They sent it to me as a direct message on Instagram. It was a girl called Betsy Burnett, who was actually a contestant on Ninja Warrior. She goes, hey, Ben, this is a friend of a friend. Okay. I said, I'm on holidays, but my team will look after it. I put in the WhatsApp group, team, I know I'm away, but have a look how cute Max is. Can we please help raise the $150,000? On my way here this morning, Mark Levy's filling in for me. $135,000, $140,000, $142,000, $148,000, $151,000. That's what I get a buzz out of. I've got this opportunity to be able to find people who need help, and there's other people who want to help, but they just don't quite know how to find each other. So that's what gives me a real buzz, to be able to connect the two. The fact that I'm able to meet interesting people and get paid and do all the other stuff along the way is a bonus.
It's amazing. You're now going to get hit up by 1,000 people, by the way, after the podcast, because they're all going to come and say, Ben can help me. But it's I get hit up too. It can be a tough one though, because sometimes there's times in which you don't have the energy to do it, or you just think, I've hit my audience up too much, try to raise too much money. How do you work out what the cadence of that is?
There is a bit of a algorithm to that, if you like, that you've really got to look at it and go, are people going to care about it? Here's my other thing that I do. I don't ask anyone to donate money to anything that I haven't donated to. So I made a decision early on that I thought, if I'm saying go to the GoFundMe page, then I want to make sure that when people get to that GoFundMe page, they can see
Ben Fordham.
Ben Fordham's donated $100.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's like, I will never ever say, can you please go and donate to this if I haven't donated to it? It's costly from my point of view because you're doing it a lot, but it's a way of saying, all right, I've got to put my money where my mouth is. And yeah, I suppose you've got to find your mark and make sure that they're the right people. But I don't know. I mean, people are so keen to help others.
Yeah, totally.
There's just this, but you know what? They want the money to go to the right people in the right place. So what they trust me with.
Yeah, you're curating for them.
Correct. That means that we've checked the people out, because sometimes, mate, people aren't telling you the truth.
Yeah, totally.
We've checked the people out. We've verified what they're telling us. We've made sure that this is the best course of action, that this kid needs to go to Singapore. It's not mum and dad wanting to go to Singapore for a holiday. You know what I mean? Because there are some people out there who try and trick you or try and do all that. So yeah, that's a good word. We curate those people who need help, and we've picked the ones that we think. And then there are others we help off air. But I've had to limit how much help I give to charities, because there was a time there when I'd be emceeing 2 charity events per week.
Alan Jones used to do that.
Right, I do 100 of them a year. Now I say to people, if it's during the daytime, I'm there. Nighttime. Now, mind you, this Saturday night I'm doing something for the Little Legs Foundation, because I met this family and I said to them, I can't do nighttime gigs anymore because of the breakfast radio. And the mum, Sue Ellen, who's as charming as all hell, she goes, except for us. And I said, yeah, except for you.
Or Ricky Stewart.
Yeah, or Ricky or whatever. So I still...
Because his foundation.
Yeah, but I try and say, look, I'll still do it.
Yeah.
But I'm conscious of limiting my time. And also, like at one stage I said to the kids, during the bushfires, I had to go out on a Saturday night to go and host something for 2 firefighters who died. And the kids are giving me grief for going. Why? Where are you going? Why? Because we're in the swimming pool and everything's great. And I got to go. I got to go and do this thing. Why? And they're giving you the guilt trip. So I said, oh, you want to know why? And I told them, because there were 2 firefighters going out there, and they were out there trying to protect everyone's homes, and a tree fell over and crushed them and killed them. And they got little kids like you, and those little kids don't have a dad anymore. And they've asked me to go and help them out, raise some money for those kids. So do you want me to go and do it? They go, yeah, go and do it. And then they open up their piggy banks and gave me money. out of their own money.
So some of that 450s they've got reduced.
Yeah. So it's like, so I do a lot of that stuff, but yes, I'm also conscious that if you do it all the time and if you don't leave any time for yourself and your wife and your children, I've got the greatest wife in the world. I married well. One of the best decisions I ever made in my life was deciding, righto, this is the woman I want to try and marry, and throwing everything at it. And thankfully she said yes, and we're, 10 years plus and going pretty strong. But I've got to keep her. Not that she's planning on going anywhere, but I did have a conversation early on where I said, just so you know, our family doesn't really do divorce. She goes, what do you mean? I said, we don't do divorce. So like when I say I'm getting married to you, I'm getting married to you.
I'm staying married to you.
Yeah. No matter what happens, no matter what we do, I'm never, ever going to walk away from this. Just so you know. In our family, I know it's a bit unconventional, but when we marry, we get married forever. So, but you can't take that for granted, and that's why I've got to make sure that
You've got to work on it.
I'm looking after Jodie, and now she's going to become a lawyer, which means when you get in trouble or I get in trouble, we get a discount on the lawyer.
Well, you better not divorce her because she's going to, especially if it becomes a family lawyer.